Agriculture received a win this week as the government dropped all charges against South Dakota ranchers Charles and Heather Maude. The previous administration had large federal theft charges against them, claiming that they stole federal land for personal use. Well, they join us now from the NCBA Washington headquarters to share their story. Thank you both. Again, I know this has been probably an incredible emotional week for you and your family. A little background on your operation there in South Dakota, both fifth-generation ranchers. Charles, tell us about yourselves, your operation, everything that's involved there.
Well, we're from Caputa, South Dakota, which is just about 30 miles outside southeast of Rapid City. We're mainly a cow-calf operation. We do have a few pigs that we raise farrow to finish, and we do finish some cattle that we sell into the direct-to-consumer market there in Rapid City, along with the hogs. We do farm, try to raise most of the feed to finish that or those animals, and we're just mainly a cow-calf operation.
Well, for those that may be unfamiliar with the situation, a little background on this legal battle and really how it got to this point. I'm sure you guys were surprised as everybody else that was reading about it.
Yes, and we still have several questions. I don't expect that we'll ever have answers to all of those. But this began last March 29th, which was Good Friday, when a U.S. Forest Service special agent and a U.S. Forest Service patrol captain came by our house and said that they may have an issue with a couple of fences that were not on the line. They suggested we follow up by meeting with our district ranger, which we did. We set that meeting up for May 1st, 2024. That was the only meeting we had with the management side of the Forest Service. We discussed some offers of resolution. They were all pursuant to a survey, which we were told would take several months to a year to complete. And then unexpectedly, 6 days later, the U.S. Forest Service special agent led a team in conducting a survey. And from that point on, communication became a little less consistent. And then unbeknownst to us, and on June 24th, we were charged with criminal charges separately for theft of government property after just that one meeting with the management side. And we still have no idea why they chose to go that way versus the numerous agency things they have in place that would have allowed us to resolve this in a civil way.
Right. It seemed like they just jumped ahead and really took the harshest course of action. A little background, too. I know that the property, am I right, since 1910 has been in the family there.
Yep, this particular piece of land was purchased in 1910 and has always been operated in this fashion for generations.
Yeah, I would think that you'd have the law on your side because of that. As we mentioned, though, the government has now dropped criminal charges. The reaction, I'm sure, a lot of relief. What does this mean now for your operation as you move forward? And how do you process this and just go back to spending your time on what you need to do, your family, your operation, your land?
So by dropping the criminal charges, this takes us back to where we were on May 1st of 2024, which is in a position to seek a resolution to the issue that is a fence that is not on the boundary, which is a very common issue in the West. But at this time, we are not able to go home, hit the field, and go back to life as it was before this. We now get back to where we should have been last year, where we can determine, is there an issue? And if there are, what options do we have to resolve this in a mutually beneficial way? And so once we get through that process, then we can get back to life as we knew it.
I see. So this is really a reset from where it should have started and then the process going forward. The anticipation on this kind of process and how you see this playing out, is there a timeline that you think you would have in mind? Because it is an issue that a lot of ranchers have to deal with out west.
Right. I mean, we are certainly optimistic for an expedited timeline and that we can get this wrapped up, ASAP, but we really don't have any direction at this point. It was a huge win, not only for us, but for the agriculture community as a whole. They attempted to come at us in a fashion that they have never gone after anyone. And as you mentioned, they skipped the entire resolution process that is there for a reason. So we took a moment yesterday to celebrate that fact. And now we hope in the next few days to get some guidance and direction in regard to what we can expect for a timeline for our off choices, and just hopefully get, like you said, direction and timeline on how we move forward and how we can do that most efficiently and effectively for all parties involved.
Yeah, we're getting to see now some pictures from that press conference there. You know, you look at the press conference, you look at the industry leaders that were there and able to celebrate this victory with you. Obviously relief for your family, but overall this experience and watching everybody come together, the NCBA, PLC, Ag Secretary Rollins there. Speak to that a little bit.
Well, our neighbor, Scott Edoff, said that Charles here has done something that no one has ever been able to do, in that he brought the entire agriculture industry and every entity together. And we think that is phenomenal, not only for us, but all of us in agriculture often fight a lot of uphill battles, and how phenomenal to see our entire industry see something go the way it should. For the producers, for the organizations, for the agencies, for all of the individual and organizational entities that work on behalf of agriculture at all levels of government, as well as for the producers. We are not the only ones who face this type of an issue, and how phenomenal that we now have an administration and all these key players that are willing to work for and by the citizens again. And we are so thankful for everyone that came together behind us to this point. And we look so forward to hopefully all of the positive things that are to come from this point forward for production ag, on the individual producer basis, all the way up to the organizations and the people who work on behalf of our industry in DC.
Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people will be citing this case as they move forward for other ranchers and producers. Before I let you go, here at RFD-TV, we know it's National Beef Month, a chance to celebrate ranchers like yourselves for the work that you do to feed the nation and the world. How neat is it to see this part of this case end this week at the start of Beef Month? Pretty incredible. So we'd like to salute you both for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we want to thank you as well. And we want to say that this is my dad's favorite program. Give him a shout out, and you as well, Suzanne. So
thank you so much, Heather. What's your father's name?
Tom Hamilton.
All right, we're giving him a shout out. Thank you both again, and congratulations. Much continued success. I look forward to a speedy case. Get this out of the way, and you guys get back to doing what you love. South Dakota ranchers Charles and Heather Maude, again, thank you and congratulations.